For most European enterprises, GDPR compliance begins with a physical requirement. Every rack-mounted server storing customer data must be located within the European Union. This creates a widespread professional assumption that physical geography provides a reliable legal shield. However, U.S. jurisprudence follows a different standard. Jurisdiction follows the provider's corporate headquarters, allowing a legal sweep from Washington, D.C. to bypass local geography entirely. This legal anchor point in the United States supersedes the physical location of the server in Frankfurt or Dublin. Relying on data residency without corporate sovereignty leaves European IT infrastructure exposed to the reach of foreign legal directives. This exposure is a structural reality for the European Union, which depends on U.S. headquartered providers for the vast majority of its enterprise operations. The relationship forms what we can call the extraterritorial stack, consisting of three distinct layers: hardware at the base, virtualization and software in the middle, and legal directives at the top. Foreign authority now extends down to the physical compute resources that power modern data centers. Simultaneously, the top layer of U.S. statutes claims jurisdiction over the data moving through these systems. This integrated dependency creates an environment where shifts in U.S. law or geopolitical strategy can propagate through the stack, potentially disrupting European critical infrastructure. The middle layer is defined by market dominance. 3 U.S. hyperscalers control 70% of the European cloud market. The largest European player, SAP, holds just 2%. Financially, 80% of European corporate spending on software and cloud flows directly to American vendors. This reliance creates a state of vendor lock-in, where businesses integrate their operations so deeply into proprietary tool chains that they cannot easily extract them. Between lengthy contracts and the technical complexity of moving massive data, migrating away from these providers becomes prohibitively expensive and extremely risky. Operational lock-in forces European firms to adopt U.S. corporate terms as their primary governing framework, compromising sovereignty before a single data request is even made. Traditional U.S. export controls were designed for a physical world, governing the movement of hardware across borders. The Remote Access Security Act, or RASA, updates this authority for the cloud era. RASA redefines export to include remote internet access to U.S.-controlled technology by foreign persons. This allows the Bureau of Industry and Security to regulate connections to high-end hardware. Crucially, this applies even to European data centers if operated by a U.S. headquartered company. The target of these controls is advanced compute power, specifically the GPUs required for AI training and large-scale data processing. This mandate forces U.S. cloud providers to actively monitor and potentially restrict the access of their European customers to satisfy U.S. national security requirements. Unlike owning physical hardware, the cloud model relies on a temporary lease of power that can be revoked by a third-party regulator. RASA effectively grants the U.S. government the authority to embargo the hardware layer, unilaterally severing an organization's access to its primary computing resources. At the top of the stack sit U.S. data access laws. This 2018 assessment from the European Data Protection Board highlights how the U.S. Cloud Act bypasses established treaties for international legal assistance.
The Cloud Act allows U.S. authorities to demand data directly from a provider's headquarters, removing the need for European judicial review, regardless of where the servers are located. The intelligence counterpart to this authority is FISA Section 702. FISA 702 authorizes warrantless surveillance of non-U.S. citizens by compelling cloud and communication providers to turn over metadata and content. Legislation passed in 2024 further expanded this reach, widening the definition of a provider to include nearly any entity with access to communication equipment. In response, the European Union has strengthened its own defensive framework from within the Berlaymont, pairing the GDPR with the upcoming EU Data Act. The Data Act imposes a strict mandate. Cloud providers must implement technical and organizational measures to prevent unlawful access by non-EU governments. This creates a direct legal collision. U.S. code compels data production, while EU law strictly requires blocking that production. The U.S. cloud provider is caught in the middle. During a CLOTD Cloud Act demand, the provider simply cannot satisfy both jurisdictions simultaneously.
This zero-sum conflict means that relying on U.S. corporate entities places European data sovereignty in a legally impossible position. While targeted data access is a risk, geopolitical sanctions introduce the possibility of total service denial. When sanctions are issued, software and cloud infrastructure are categorized as economic resources. Under this doctrine, service to targeted entities must stop immediately. We have seen this play out in the Nyara Energy case, where a provider suspended services to an international organization simply to avoid the risk of U.S. compliance penalties. This automated corporate compliance reaction serves as a predictable kill switch, instantly pulling the plug on regional operations to avoid legal liability. Hyperscalers have responded to these concerns by launching sovereign cloud products designed specifically for the European market. These offerings promise local storage, restricted administrative access for U.S. employees, and EU-based technical support. These operational features do not remove the core jurisdictional risk. Because the parent company is subject to U.S. laws, data remains within reach of a Cloud Act warrant. The U.S. government maintains jurisdiction based on the corporate parent, regardless of localized technical controls. This practice of sovereignty washing provides the appearance of security, while the fundamental jurisdictional vulnerability remains unchanged. Since the legal conflict cannot be resolved through policy or contracts, the solution must be found in IT architecture. The definitive technical countermeasure is client-side key management. An EU organization encrypts its data locally, keeping the encryption key firmly within its own jurisdictional boundary. Only the locked box of ciphertext is moved to the U.S. cloud provider's infrastructure. The provider physically hosts the data, but has no technical means to decrypt or read the underlying information. This architecture solves the legal collision. To satisfy a Cloud Act warrant, the provider hands over the locked ciphertext. The data remains unreadable, satisfying the EU Data Act. The EU organization retains true control by holding the only keys that matter. Ultimately, in the modern enterprise stack, the possession of cryptographic keys defines the final boundary of digital sovereignty.